Hey YouTube, today we're going to be looking at a couple Colt revolvers, and the reason I'm making this video is I'm going to reach out for help and ask if anybody has any ideas for something. So what we have here in front of us, we have an older vintage Colt Python on the top here and a Colt Trooper that I had restored and modified on the bottom. And before we go any further, I'm going to let you know that both of these revolvers are not loaded and we are clear to make this video. As I pick them up, I will show you there's nothing in them. So the reason for making this video is, I'm going to show you this gun's not loaded, is I have this Colt Trooper here that went through an extensive restoration process. And just to do a little recap on this for people that are not familiar with what we have here. This is a 1960s Colt Trooper, and it was chambered in 38 special, and it was rough. When I got it, it was nickel plated, and the nickel was in horrible shape, and I took it and had it restored. And I had this Colt Python barrel fitted on it. I had a different hammer fitted in it, a large spur hammer fitted in it, and put a set of, synthetic ivory grips on it, and had a Colt Royal Blue finish put on it. So when we did all that, as you can see here, there's a lot had to be done. I had this gun converted over to a 357 Magnum, and so on. A lot of stuff done to it. So when I did this Colt Python barrel, which you can see has pretty thin roll marks on it. It was from the 60s, this barrel was. There was a lot of extensive fitting had to be done to this barrel, and this is what I suspect is wrong with this. So when we did this, the ejector rod, it would not fit on there, and thus got lost. I had to get another one. So the ejector rod, the end piece on here, I don't know exactly what it's called, but it got lost. So what I did is I sourced one out on eBay, and I've got this brand new one right here. So the problem is when you put this on here, and I had a viewer just ask me a couple times about this, and I decided today's the day I want to make this video. So I can put this on here, and if you look real close, when I go to close this, it does not fit. It's a little bit too long here. And what I think is going on here, I think it's from the extensive amount of fitting that had to be done to this barrel. This barrel, I mean, this whole gun was a disaster. I mean, this gun was in rough shape. There's a lot of fitting had to be done to this, and I think this thing, from fitting this barrel to make the cylinder, the forcing column, the cylinder gap correct, as you can see where it's real tight, I think it had to go into this frame pretty far, and thus shortening the distance here that this underlug has. And I think that it's a little bit too long now. So the gunsmith that does all my stuff, he relocated in the middle of doing this project, so he's quite a ways from me. It's a little bit of an ordeal to ship stuff to him, and with the changing of the licensings and all that stuff, it's a little bit of an ordeal. So I figured this is a simple project or simple problem, and we could probably figure it out here locally. I could probably figure this out on my own. Now, I went through a little bit of an illness here over the past month and a half, and I've really been down and out, and I'm just now getting back into the swing of things. And it was brought to my attention yesterday in one of the videos that I still haven't fixed this gun, and I made a promise I was going to make this video today, and I'm going to ask for help. Does anybody have any ideas how I can make this thing work? If you look real close here, it's just threaded on the end, and there's not a lot of threads here, folks. This is how the gun comes. And here is the piece. So when you screw this on, it will only screw on so far. I'm going to screw it on real tight. And this is how much it lacks right here. As you can see, it's close, but it won't go in there. So I'm going to pull this apart, and I'm going to show you. I have this other gun here. This is an actual factory vintage Colt Python. This one's from 1984. This is a stainless one. So that's going to be the only difference. And I'm going to show you that it's not loaded. Pretty cool gun. It's probably my favorite revolver I own. But the only reason I have it out here is I'm going to show you the gap difference. So if you look up here, that's the difference. Now, a Colt revolver is a little bit different than a Smith revolver. Smith revolver has like a little D10 in here that locks the cylinder up in there. These do not, so that's not going to be an issue. But if you look, there's the difference in the gap here. When you close this up, it's pretty, you know, you got a little bit of a room here. But once again, this is the factory barrel on a factory gun, so I'm sure that makes a lot of difference. This gun hasn't been modified at all since 1984. But this one here, it lacks a little bit, folks. And if anybody's got any ideas what they think I could do to fit this thing on here, I mean, I just think it would look a lot better if it had the end piece onto this ejector rod. I mean, everything functions fine and everything like that. As a matter of fact, we're going to put this on here, and we'll try and do a side by side with the authentic Python here. So we'll pull this out here and we'll see what the length difference is. I don't even know how to do this without turning it into a disaster. So we'll hold the cylinder side by side, and they're going to be just about the same size, folks. As you can see, they're just about the same size. Let me do it over here where it'll show up on camera. They're exactly the same length. The ejector rods are. The barrels are exactly the same. It's just a Colt Python 4-inch barrel, an older 4-inch barrel. Now this one's from, you know, the actual, this one's from the actual 1960s, and the one that I have here is from the 1980s. But a Colt Python barrel is a Colt Python barrel, and it will not go in there. So if anybody has any ideas, let me know. And if not, I'm sure we can figure it out here with a local gunsmith that, you know, I mean, this shouldn't be that hard of a deal. But anybody got any ideas on why that won't fit in there? I'm all ears, folks. I always like to listen to people, and I haven't really put a lot of thought into it. Like I said, I've been ill for a little bit over a month, and that was the least of my worries. But it was brought to my attention yesterday, and I was like, all right, I'm going to focus on that. So let me hear your ideas. Let me see what you think about putting this little end piece on this ejector rod on this little project Colt Trooper that we made look like a blued Colt Python. But anyway, folks, if you have any questions on the two firearms that I've presented here, I have videos on each one of them, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have for you. But as of today, I am the one with the question, and thank you very much for watching my video, and you folks have a great day.